So guys, the challenged attitudes of northern leaders towards terrorism ravaging northern Nigeria has not come without some huge consequences. You can see that the terrorists have started forming parallel governments in some northern states. Parallel government. So see how this headline here captured it. It says terrorists form parallel governments in Kanu, Katsina communities, impose 50,000 tax on sugarcane farmers. Parallel government, meaning the federal government is running its own and the terrorists are running their own. And Sahara reporters also captured it. Say bandits impose 50,000 naira levy on each farmer after forming parallel government in Kanu, Katsina communities. So guys, the way things are going in Nigeria today, so guys, if they tell you that this country will survive not being overrun by these terrorists, except our government starts displaying political will to end terrorism, let's not depend on Trump alone. Yes, Trump will help. At least he will put fire on our government. But guys, the way these people are displaying what they are doing is unbelievable. Now, see this headline here. This says how bandits walked into Kwara Palace, kidnapped monarch's 7 family members. Vigilante leader is talking that these terrorists came into a king's, let's use king, his palace, and took his 7 family members away. And it's not in the news. The security agents are not talking about it. This is where we are as a country. The audacity of these criminals in Nigeria just shows that we have lost it at the moment. The Tinubu's government should just leave politics alone and face terrorism in Nigeria. Tinubu, it is high time you display political will to end insecurity. What pains my heart is we don't see the northerners coming out to criticize, at least to speak up. Recently, they were protesting against Trump coming to Nigeria, and people were asking, why can't they channel that energy in protesting against terrorists? We've not seen that. Why not channel the energy you are using to protest against Trump and protest against what the terrorists are doing? Now, they are running another government from the federal government of Nigeria. That you can see the audacity that these people are displaying. Now, Mr. Molalo said, U.S. strike did not violate Nigeria's sovereignty. Terrorists did. Molalo defends U.S. military intervention in Sokoto, challenges sovereignty argument. Molalo say terrorists, the majority of them are even coming from outside the country, are coming to install another government. You tell me why nnamdi Kanu is in jail. They said he made statements, even statements he made while in the UK. And the terrorists are busy buying people, setting up another government. That one is not treasonable, right? Setting up another government to run alongside the Nigerian government. And we have a country where the Sharia law is now almost supreme to our constitution, and nobody faults that. So guys, that tells you that a whole lot is happening in Nigeria today as regards to insecurity. Anyway, I'm just going to allow you to take a look at some of these videos just for you to see what is happening. Recently, I shared with you guys the havoc that ISWAP is causing. In less than 2 months, ISWAP executed 27 people, among which you have the Nigerian military, you have Nigerian police, you have the joint task force vigilante members, and then you have some normal citizens that they suspected to be spies that is giving Nigerian military information about them. They executed 27 of them, and we are just living a normal life in Nigeria. Nobody's talking about it. So guys, take your time and watch these videos and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notification for more updates. Now take a look.
Mr. Elvis, let's look at what Trump actually said. He said that the strike on December 25, where some terrorists were supposedly struck out and killed or burned, whatever you want to term it, in Sokoto, he said it is supposed to be a one-time thing. But with the persistent killings ongoing, they may have to come back for more, and it's going to be more than once. So there are talks that Trump is going through his own internal issues in the U.S. with currently ICE. He called the forceful deportation of what is considered illegal immigrants, specifically those from Somalia. And you also know recently there was a woman who was shot, and there's a current protest across the U.S. concerning that. But there are talks that Trump is using foreign policy to deflect from the main issue currently going on in the United States of America. I mean, you can see protests across New York, Oklahoma, other states, all right, in the US. A couple of persons are not happy with Trump's supposed tyrannical exhibition or disposition towards issues in the US. Others feel that this is exactly what they voted Trump in to do, to bring in America first and let America be revered and feared as one of the first countries in the world that everyone should look up to and be afraid of. What do you consider about this? Do you think that the strike is going to be a one-time thing? There are talks that we're seeing more Air Force jets. The Nigerian government intends to purchase more from the US to fight out these terrorists. Israel recently disclosed to us that they're partnering with Nigeria in terms of sharing intelligence and providing them with whatever weaponry they need to fight out these guys. But we're still seeing these individuals, these terrorists, these elements ravage communities, go about, unhindered, and the president has not yet returned to the country. What's your take on this?
Esther, I think personally I would be too disappointed if the strike is just a one-time thing.
Okay.
And I know so many Nigerians will also share that with me, because when that strike came up, Nigerians were like, why Sokoto? Why not Sabisa or the northeast where this insurgency started from?
Okay.
Or even Zamfara that we saw that has become a very hotbed. I danced down to Niger State. So Nigeria were like, Sokoto was looking very alien to Nigerians, on that Christmas Day strike. But when I read that story today that Trump was saying it was supposed to be a one-time thing, I was like, how do you talk of one-time thing in this kind of insecurity that have polarized the whole Nigeria entity as a nation? I don't know, but I think Trump, now that he said since the country is still not able to curtail it as expected, and that more strike may come, I think that's what Nigerians are actually looking at. Let's this bomb be dropped in some of these areas, then let the insurgents be destabilized to some extent, and so that Nigeria armed forces also can also show up their operation, so that as they are coming out from their enclaves as a result of the bomb from US, Nigeria armed forces cannot be picking them up. That's what we actually expected. Let Nigerian armed forces actually re-strategize, so that even when this bomb comes more, then as they are coming out in disarray, they can be picked up. So I don't expect that that strike should be a one-time thing, because we still have so many hotbeds in Nigeria that have not been touched.
Very true.
You have also seen that even since that strike, there been so much of so many attacks here and there. Look at the one that brazen one that happened in Niger State about 5 days ago, that they went to the market as bold as they are. They went to a market daytime. So that all this one will now further tell Trump that there are still more jobs to do in Nigeria than just that one.
Well, Trump is insistent that everyone should be allowed to practice their faith. No particular religion is meant to suppress the other religion, and they say that this is a characteristic all over the world. It's also the same thing that Israel is battling with Palestine, especially Hamas, and also the terrorists in Yemen, the Houthi rebels. You also have ISIS. There is also Al Qaeda. They have the same doctrine to supposedly take over countries, suppress other people's religion. If you do not convert to their religion, then you are either executed or eviscerated or subjected to a form of slavery. And he says it's a pattern with these individuals. Others say that is not the nature of true Islam. True Islam does not force anyone to accept a religion that they are not supposedly convinced to be part of, and because of that there's a lot of would I say phobia created for that religion. There's also a phobia here in Nigeria towards the Fulanese. In fact, if you listen to some of the Western media talk about terrorism in Nigeria, they always ascribe it to the Fulani tribe, and there are talks that it's actually a very dangerous rhetoric, because when things like this are attached to particular people all over the world, there's a phobia, there's a way they are treated, there's a kind of perception and subjection that they are given. And now the talk is that the Nigerian government enabled this. They enabled this dastardly act, degenerate to the point where we now have more than 32 terrorist cells, in fact terrorist organizations in the country. And Sambisa is a place where it's almost more than a state on its own. It's not habitated by anyone. These guys know the mapping of that area. There is also the lean ground troop, that is our military. They're very few, and they have a lot of issues that they're dealing with, considering also the porous border. The president at this point in time is not in the country. The latest tirade is the one that happened in Niger State, where more than 40 persons were killed by these individuals, and the president gave a swift reaction. However, Nigerians say it's not enough, and that could be one of the deteriorating factors of Tinubu's government. How do we react to this particular scenario?
Well, if you want to go by your analysis, your submission, Esther, Nigeria Constitution actually says secular state, which means you and I are allowed to practice our religion unhindered or being molested, humiliated by other religion. That's a good one. But a situation where some other persons are feeling too superior and they are not using their religion like, oh, their own is much more superior, and they are not tainting that religion with kind of bad name that religion does not even supposed to, carry ab initio. That's where the problem comes in. That's the fanaticism we are talking about, Esther.
Okay.
When it now gets to that level, and even beyond the fanaticism now, some people have now gone as far as not using it like a kind of an attack dog to other religion. That's where problems started from.
Okay.
And if you look at it in this part of the world, like especially Nigeria, a certain tribe is, being fingered in all this that is going on. This is where the head of this religion comes in. Sultan is the head of Islamic religion. Why has he not make a categorical statement, even though he's making some of the statement? Oh, it's a peaceful religion. Quite well, nobody is actually doubting that. But when people of this nature are trying to now bring down the name of the religion, all in the name of this attack and all that, then every member of that religion who actually want to speak truth to what is going on in Nigeria are supposed to come out and become like the spokesperson for this religion, so that all this one that have turned into something else can now become like everybody is fighting them and everybody is looking for them to be taken out. Because if you look at it, if they like the strike that came in Sokoto that day, everybody was like, this is even the home of the Sultan. Why Sokoto?
They were not even expecting Sokoto. They were thinking to be in Borno or Maiduguri, all those other zones. It was surprising to tell that it was in Sokoto.
That strike alone defamed the popularity of Sokoto and the caliphate. So Sultan should put his feet more on ground and condemn most of these things that are happening. I know they have an organization that has to do with both Islam and religion and Christian religion that, to make peace. More of that should be, in this new year, and now that the American and other Western allied forces are coming in, should be emboldened to make more statements. And these persons that are trying to bring down the name of this religion should be profiled and properly,
I'm sure you heard about the Sharia court judges who were asked to be actually they should be tried in a normal court instead of the Sharia court. These are Sharia court judges that were accused of utilizing funds for personal gains.
Yes.
They themselves, who actually implement Sharia punishment, the Sharia penal code, they are requesting that they should be tried in a normal court.
Yeah, because they know the laws.
No, but they know which laws.
They know the gravity of what they have been making out of people.
So if they know that's the imbalance about
that's
this thing.
They're trying to
the
evade
major
it.
imbalance.
I don't know to evade it, that the law now that they meant out to some less privileged persons, should not be applied to them, because they know the gravity of that law that they are trying to run from.
They stole 99 million meant for orphans in Kanu.
Yes.
And immediately, being the fact that they are Sharia court judges, they are meant to be tried by the same process that
they should be tried by the same process.
If it means cutting off their hands or whatever it is, it's meant to be meted out on them.
Exactly.
Now they're asking to be tried in a criminal court.
No. This is even the area where I'm saying that the Sultan should actually be making some categorical statement, so that since he's the head of such religion, this kind of people cannot be allowed to run from there. You see, this problem actually became so fertile in Nigeria since the 2023 election, 2022-2023 election that gave birth to Muslim ticket. You know how it was criticized in this nation. You know how many Nigerians were so dissatisfied with that arrangement by APC.
Yes.
So that gave them another brazen boldness. Okay, if we can get it as Muslim, and we are now in power, then we can do more. Things of this nature should be discouraged, especially when we have it in the constitution that Nigeria is a secular state.
Yes.
It's not, you and I should not be intimidated because we are in another religion. So going forward, all the political parties should also look inward and not bring in policies that would help to destabilize Nigeria. That policy of the APC Muslim ticket brought a lot of destabilization, brought us to this disaster we are today. If we have had a Muslim Christian, it would have gotten to this
and
level.
The Muslim ticket is something that the APC themselves, especially the president, has warned
against it.
Warned against.
Yes, but when it got to his time now to become president of this nation, the dummy was sold and he now bought into it. This is where the issues are, Esther, because he now felt that it will favor him because of the greed and selfishness that I want to be there at all costs. It's my turn. Like
so
he told
this
Nigerians,
rules only apply to the majority, but should not apply
like
to the few.
Yes, that's where the issue is. You see, going further, after they even got that, they got the Muslim ticket, they still went further to even denigrate the Christian religion by going to prick miscreant on the street,
Exactly.
and dress them in the robe of a bishop. You know what that means to the Christian religion? So when they did all these things and got away with it, at that time they were just bringing down the popularity and denigrating the Christian religion. That's what all these miscreants are also capitalizing on her and say, okay, this is our time to actually wipe it off. This
is something that the Christians dare not do.
You can't do it to their own. You can't do it to their own side. But because in our own Christian we say, oh, we leave it in the hands of God. You know, we are very good at retreating and say we leave it in the hands of God and say, oh, the Bible says we should not, vengeance is mine.
Yes.
So I will recompense. We have so many quotations to even use to twat it. But even at stopping at that level, they are not stopping.
Okay.
If we are waiting for God and we are being killed every day, if not because the people of Benue State after the Yewata massacre came up and I became news before the American government, we wouldn't have even seen some of these things we have seen, because Nigerian government has so trivialized it and call it a farmer herders clash, and that is because of the climate change. They are moving down from the up north down to the south. That is what it's doing to this. They've not told the world how villages are now being sacked and how villagers that are and the villages are now being renamed, and the villagers and the original owners of the village are now in IDP camp. You see, I love what America did. They have to even say rally more on ground.
No, that's part of the process.
Yes,
he had to come beyond what he said.
He saw exactly what is going on. So when he went back, he gave a better report to the president. So I would not be too happy if Donald Trump was thinking that just one strike we're able to solve the problem of Nigeria.
Well, everyone is actually looking at President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. There were high hopes and high expectation of him, considering his exposure, his intellect, understanding the peculiarity of Nigeria's terrain, that he would apply that in being very, hard on concerning this. But I think maybe politics is more prominent or a priority.
Esther, when they are the other side of the divide, they speak as if they are part of you and I. But when they get to the other side, that is the boozier side, they don't remember where they were coming from. That's the problem of Nigerian leaders. They don't know where the rain beat them. They will not remember where the sun came and dried them. When he was a member of NADECO, when Nigerian could actually call him a Democrat, he was against most of the things that are happening even in his administration now. Yeah. But now he's there because they want to remain in power. He want to get a second tenure and another. He's now paying lip service and turning off his face to some of these things that are very detrimental to Nigerians, which he has spoken against before. So it's all about power, Esther. I want to remain there, and I want to make sure that what my predecessors did, at least they all did two tenure, I must be able to get it. I don't want to live there, after one tenure. But Jonathan left. Today he's a celebrated person in the world.
All right. Mr. Elvis, let's go into Rivers. Wike is saying that what he wants is peace and stability in Rivers State. He's there to campaign for the president, and that all of this is not necessarily to cause any whatever. In other words, kind of begging the president that what I need is peace in Rivers State. This is my state. But it's quite funny with all of the things he has been saying lately. In fact, the one we had last time was the fact that he had walked and given his grit to the APC and the president. So nobody can dump him, nobody can use him and dump him. We've also seen a situation very recently where Fubara has been mom in all of this. The impeachment process has been delivered to him, and so the APC is now asking the president to please intervene as soon as possible to stop this anomaly that is taking place in Rivers. Ever since Fubara was inaugurated, it's been one political topsy-turvy or the other. They've not been able to allow this man govern the state appropriately, and a couple of persons said all of this is because of money. Now recently, if you heard what Amawule was saying concerning the fact that Fubara was just doing what he was doing without consolidating with others, like there's a 3-tier of government, there's about 600 billion naira in the coffers of the River State government, and Wike has been insisting that money should be utilized. That's what he was telling Fubara. Fubara is utilizing the money but not carrying a couple of persons along. Now, those persons want to be settled. I'm speaking of the House of Rep members, Wike himself. Now, the APC too, being the fact that Fubara is also in the APC. They are also intending to have access to this money when it is due. Elections are getting very close, and the APC wants to be very careful because Wike is ready to do whatever he thinks he wants to do to make sure that he keeps on authority in that state. But he's not inside the APC. He's fighting outside. So he's at a dilemma. At this point in time, everything is about money. I have an audio of one Alaji Abuja or something, Asamaja or something like that, where he was making statements about the money and that Fubara is not carrying them along, and the whole genesis of this problem is money. Mr. Elvis, we have seen these politicians make statements and confessions that are meant to keep them in Kirikiri Kuje prison, in fact beyond Sokoto, and they're making these utterances and everywhere is quiet. Nobody is saying anything. No one. Is this how we should continue in the system? But people are boldly, authoritatively telling us what they did in 2023, the processes with which they disenfranchise people, how they're using taxpayers' money for themselves, and the coloration of elections. Everything is out in the open, brazenly said, and nobody's disputing, nobody's condemning. Everywhere is quiet.
Esther, they can't have it business as usual in 2027. Because the international community is looking more into Nigeria now than what it used to be. Remember when that election
so, Mr. Elvis, as a supposed sovereign nation,
no,
we should be afraid of international community monitoring us to do the right thing?
If you cannot manage your home, you are not a father. This nation, we have failed ourselves. Our leaders have failed also. If we have any help from anybody, that any other nation that want to assist Nigerians, Nigerians will be ready to welcome such person, especially when it is actually at the detriment of those of us who have been complaining and be crying against what we are going through in this nation. We voted in 2023. We never saw the result. Are you happy about it? You also want to go through that same process in 2027 again? You and I, we will not accept that. With all the trillions now that we are hearing that the federal government is going to release to INEC now. So by 2027, INEC will still come with such flimsy excuses and tell us, oh, this was what happened. Then you think we'll swallow it. It's not going to be done. So if the international community, forget about, if a sovereign nation is not doing those things that will make you to be a sovereign nation to your indigenes, your citizens that made you a nation, you are not doing the right thing to them. Those their welfare, security and all that. You are not a sovereign nation now. You are a failed nation. I mean, is it not the insecurity we are discussing here? If they can come over there from all the way from that side to come and help us to start striking in Nigeria to make sure that we have security, then do you know how much they give to this nation as grants
all the time?
All the time.
In fact, in 2023,
billions of dollars.
Yes.
They give us as grants to feed us, to take care of you and I. Do you feel it? Now, apart from the grant, now they have now shifted to helping us to fight insecurity. Do you think so? They should not also look into our election, how our electoral system, our leaders have been voted to power. If they're not even ready to look into it, Nigeria should invite them to come and look into it.
But do you think Trump's antics is personal? Maybe there's a regime change that they want, because that's what a couple of persons are suspecting.
Well, we don't know what they want at this time.
Like what happened in Venezuela, that could be one of the antics.
It may not be like what happened in Venezuela, Esther. We don't know what they want at this time, but if they help us to look into the electoral system and it became so credible that Nigerians could say, oh, we voted and our vote counts, and there is a regime change, well and fine. But we should not close our eyes to what we saw in 2023 to repeat itself again in 2027. Okay. That's where I'm going, Esther. Then, when you are now talking about sovereignty relies with the people. If you and I are enjoying what we are going through in Nigeria, if any external country is coming, we will join the government to say, no, you must not do this. We see it in some other countries. Will another nation go to Israel today and Israelites will say they sell off their nation? No. They will never, because they know that the country is able to protect them and is able to give them what they want. This is a desert nation, but today they also give people food to eat. You understand? So there are so many other countries. Talk of smaller countries like Finland, Sweden, Norway. Do you hear of their noise? No, you don't hear of their noise. These countries, look at Switzerland. These countries are the government of this country take care of Austria. They take care of their citizens, protect them, and give them exactly everything they want. In Nigeria, after 35 years of retirement, you'll be begging the nation to pay your severance package. Then you are sick. You cannot afford it. Even to feed ordinary food, you cannot afford it. So you want to travel, you cannot go by road safely, or even when you have the means to even pay, you will not begin to look for where to go and do fasting and prayer before you travel. Is that a nation? So when you are talking of sovereignty, you earn it. It is not just by I was given independence, so I'm a sovereign nation. Yes, that is independent, but are the people actually enjoying that sovereignty you are talking about? You have to earn that sovereignty from the people, the citizens of that. Earn it. It's just like respect. If you greet me well, it means I have also respected myself. That's why you respect me. If the nation cannot take care of its citizens, it's not a sovereign nation. So anybody can interfere in their matter, provided the citizens are happy and they say, oh, we could not solve it, we want to protest. For all the things they are doing to us here, we are not happy against it. They release their police and their armed forces to start killing us. Then another country is saying, no, this is not well enough. You can't do this. This is not how it's supposed to be. Then you now begin to tell me that I should defend Nigeria as a sovereign nation. I will not be part of those that will defend Nigeria as a sovereign nation until Nigeria is begin to take care of my welfare, take care of my security, and do what a sovereign nation is supposed to do to its citizens before I will begin to give them that respect that they desire. Some of us went to school. We paid school fees. We never got job. We thought our problem was military administration. Because when we graduated, it was still the era of military.
Yes.
Today, the unemployment is even higher outside than the time of military. I mean, how do you respect such a nation? So if there was
even our major infrastructure development were last witnessed during the military era.
Most of the major infrastructure you have in Nigeria today this current democracy could not even maintain and manage were built by the military. The third mainland bridge of this world, Mohamed Airport of this world, even the Abuja that everybody is going to, the military built it. So then, even to maintain them, it's even an issue.
We have the money, we have the means to have all of these things manifest, to actualize all of this. Nigeria's disease or virus is terrible leadership. Terrible leadership
and greed. We are no longer talking of millions now. Nobody steal millions in Nigeria. We now steal billions.
Trillions. The NNPC money that was missing from 2017 based on the audit to 2023, 210 trillion.
Yes.
That is even more than the budget that we have that can overfinance the budget. Exactly.
58 trillion. Then you are talking of foreign organization.
Meaning that we can resolve our debts, we can utilize these funds, we have money that can overcompensate the budget.
Then such a country
is going into personal pockets.
A country will not tell you that we are a sovereign nation. They should go and look at Petrobras of Brazil and look at Aramco of Saudi Arabia. These are companies that are of the same status with NNPC of Nigeria.
Russia.
Yes, these are the same countries that are the same status of like NNPC of Nigeria. Saudi Arabia today is heaven for the citizens.
I'm telling you.
Esther, look at Brazil. They've moved from third world nation to now become one of the leaders of the world. But we are going back every day. Then you now begin to tell me I should be celebrating that we got independent in 1960, that we are a sovereign nation. We are not a sovereign nation because we are not able to take care of the needs of the people who are supposed to pronounce that sovereignty upon the nation they live.
It is quite unfortunate. Some persons will say until Nigerians decide to wake up from their slumber, it will still be the same pattern. A former vice presidential candidate, Mr. Dati Baba Ahmed in the Labour Party in 2023 has claimed that the ADC will come to an end after its primary elections. He says the same persons who are in that ADC are the very same persons that we say we want to unseat because it's a combination of PDP and APC members who supposedly do not have any weight in the APC or who are dissatisfied of not getting anything tangible in the All Progressives Congress. He also disclosed that there is no Buhari-like kind of person in the ADC. For example, he used Buhari because obviously he likes Buhari. He's one of the ardent followers of Buhari's government. And he also said that they do not have a Tinubu in the ADC, one who has a political penchant to determine trajectories. Either you sacrifice or you're able to coordinate, accurately when it comes to politics. So, in other words, what does he mean by they will close down after the primaries?
Esther, coming from the trajectory of Nigeria politicians, if we want to go by that, it's not too far from what he's saying. Nigeria politicians are.
You acquiesce with what he's saying. You acquiesce with it. You agree with it.
Yes. Coming from the trajectory of Nigeria politicians, from what we have seen over the years. You see, if I pick the ticket and I'm not getting what I'm looking for, the next thing I'm pulling out, I'm moving because there are no ideology. All Nigerians Nigerian politicians are nomads. They are nomadic in nature. They are always moving. So because there is no more green pasture here, let me quickly move and see whether I will see green pasture along the way as I'm moving. That's Nigerian politician. They are nomadic. So what he is saying is not too far from it. we have seen it in so many among the politicians that when they it's like a placeholder.
But what does he mean by saying that it is to fight? Because he said some of them went all the way to Senate screening and they're taking it back now to use the Nigerian people to fight the APC. That the Nigerian people are fighting the APC. He is not gullible. He was able to ask questions right from the beginning of their respective political careers to where they are today, and the answers that he got were negative answers. And he talked about structure. In other words, for him, he feels that the ADC just wants to fight the APC, not that they prioritize the interests of Nigerians or that they have the intent of good leadership.
That's why we are saying at this stage, let them roll out their ideology, let them roll out their manifesto, let Nigerians actually know what they believe. Because if you look at some of the leaders of that ADC, actually, somebody like Atiku Abubakar, since 1993, has been trying to be president of this nation, and he's still one of the leaders. And you know how many political parties he has crossed for him for him to realize his dream.
Mr. Elvis, all of them are the same thing. Even Dati Baba Ahmed too is a political traveler.
Yes, they are.
He has had about 3 different political parties before he joined the Labour Party.
Where I'm not too comfortable with, what was he mentioning Buhari? Buhari was a failure, so you should not even mention Buhari.
But you know that a lot of them are all Buhari addicts.
No, even if with what Nigeria went through in Buhari's regime, if you are using Buhari to analyze some issues in this nation, you are bringing down the pedigree of that whatever you're analyzing, because Buhari was not somebody. He wasn't a leader that anybody should emulate in this nation, because throughout his 8 years we know what we went through. But I know too well that this nomadic system, if they don't check it, many of them are still going to leave ADC after the primaries. We are still going to see that. But let's see the ideology. Let's see how they are coalesced together to actually make sure that they want to actually unseat the ruling party. If they're able to guide that and say, it's not about greed. It's not about it must be me. Yeah. It's all about we want to give Nigerians good leadership, and as a result, we want to remove APC. That's the only thing probably we may see. So that may not lead to, after the primaries, you see some of them jumping ship. But you see, he also said that if Obi does not get the primaries,
he can come back to Labour Party. Is that possible? Is it possible to leave where you are after the primaries? So if you don't get the ticket after the primaries, you can go into another political party?
Do you know whether somebody else will be a placeholder for him? These are things that
no, but you can't be making the kind of statements you're making if you're being a placeholder for someone, because he has categorized all of them in the ADC as the same set of persons. Persons who are fighting the APC, persons who have a corrupt past, persons who have questionable history, and all of that.
That's the only area we will take His Excellency Peter Obi out of it. He has not had the corrupt issues in this nation. And he has been speaking to issues because he actually wants Nigeria to work in his time. He wants to actually tell the world that this nation can work. All we have been having since 65 years of independence is that we have been having wrong persons at the hands of affairs. But I pray that he will be given that opportunity, even if it's just 4 years, for Nigerians to actually see that there's nothing that is not possible in leadership.
Otherwise, actually, to prove if the Southeasterners keep saying that they have not been able to field anyone, to prove that leadership from that particular region can be quite exceptional. There'll be quite a lot of expectation from that perspective.
Region, or that Nigeria can work. Just that we are having dysfunctional leadership. All
right, Mr. Elvis Alimehele, thank you so much. I sincerely do appreciate you taking your time to give us insights into some of the stories we read out on the World News at 6.
It's my pleasure, Esther.
You're welcome. And just before we go, more anti-government protests has erupted in Iran for a 13th day in a row as the country's supreme leader lashes out at people demonstrating on the streets. Ali Khamenei, who has ultimate power in Iran, dismisses protesters as a bunch of vandals trying to please U.S. President Donald Trump, who threatened to hit Iran very hard if government forces kill protesters. Reza Pahlavi, the exiled former crown prince of Iran, asked Trump to be prepared to intervene in support of the Iranian people. The protests, which began in Tehran on the 28th of December, was sparked by the collapse of the Iranian currency. As it stands now, the messages on WhatsApp still only have one check mark. There is total internet blackout in Iran. Nationwide internet blackout seemingly being in place across Iran, where the true nature of the protest is not being put out there. The US-based human rights activist news agency reporting there say that at least 48 protesters in 14 cities security personnel so far have been killed since the demonstrations began since last year, December 28th. And separately, Norway-based NGO Iran Human Rights has counted at least 51 protesters killed so far, including 9 children. Most international news organizations, including the BBC, Al Jazeera, are barred from reporting inside Iran, which means that social media is actually needed to verify the number of persons who are casualties in the protests currently ongoing in Iran. However, the internet has been almost completely shut down since Thursday night. So far, the confirmed number of deaths and identities of 22 people. The Iranian authorities have so far confirmed the death of 6 security personnel.
Now, a few weeks ago, 39 self-confessed terrorists were apprehended in Ondo State by operatives of the Western Nigeria Security Network, otherwise known as Amotekun. During interrogation, the arrested persons said they were running away from Sokoto State in the northwest of the country after the United States launched several guided missile attacks against Islamic State West African province in that part of Nigeria. The arrest again highlights concerns across the southwest of increasing violence against local communities in the region by terrorists reportedly masquerading as pastoralist herdsmen. Political strategist and scientist, researcher, administrator, journalist and writer Akin Oshuntokun joins us now to discuss this development. Good afternoon, sir. Many thanks for being here.
Good afternoon.
So many hats that you wear.
Compliments of the season.
Oh, yes, the compliments of the season. I guess we're still in the season to an extent. Of course, you wear many hats, but I like to, key into your analyst hat at this time. When you look at the security situation, the response that we've seen, the posture of this administration, what do you make of things? Are you comfortable with how things are, with their response, or getting ahead of things, or the lack thereof of this administration?
Well, you mentioned the most critical point, and that is getting ahead of the situation. It seems like we're having a runaway and escalating security crisis. And the ones that were apprehended in Kwara, we were told that they came from Sokoto State. They were dislodged, by the Trump attack. And that is a good intervention from Trump, but it is also going to provoke a fight back or regrouping, anger among the terrorists. I don't know if that was factored into the situation. That act by itself, as I said, I supported it wholeheartedly, but on the condition that we have a sustained, a sustained containment, a containment of the fallouts from there. Ordinarily, apart from what the situation in Sokoto, the Northwest, is usually in the run down to the elections, to general elections. All manner of syndicates get set up, thugs that are recruited to fight one another. That has been a feature of the electoral cycle in Nigeria. So that is going to be part of it, that these are the areas that one will anticipate, may result in security breakdown. So when you add all this up, my only hope, as I said, is, Trump intervened in the first instance because it seems as if Nigeria lacks the capacity, to contain, get handled on the security crisis. So as things stand now, we are still going to need the capacity that the US, that Trump manifested. It doesn't have to be Trump. It could be any other power that has the wherewithal, the capacity to face down, to confront a situation like that. That is what is going to require. And that is where my own fear is, that you just told me that he said he may or may not take another proactive initiative in Nigeria again. He's not ruling it out. Well, that's Trump. Well, in the case of Nigeria, my own opinion, considered opinion, was that what he did was correct. I supported it. That look, if you are helpless, you have somebody to help you out of a bad situation, that in itself is a good thing. But Trump, as an American president, coupled with what he had been doing, thereafter, going to kidnap, abduct, the president of another country, threatening to take over Greenland, and so it's becoming very controversial, So the situation as it goes down, it's a bit confusing. The saving grace, or one of the saving grace, was the initiative taken by the governments of the Southwest some years ago to set up Amoteku. It has been very effective, not minding, regardless that they are not adequately equipped with the little that they had. They are very effective. And what the conclusion you get from that is that is a need for state police, for the decentralization of the security network and power at the center. So this is this has manifested itself. I should assume that other zones in the country are taking the lead from what happened, the initiative of the Southwest. The states, the Muslim majority states in the north, they did set up an organization called ISBA, which was supposed to be an instrument of Sharia. Now they can also ask, equip them, or also, give them that additional to serve, as apart from, going after people drinking beer or whatnot. Right? They can make themselves useful now in the situation that we find ourselves. But as I said, ordinarily, in the run-up to general elections, the tendency has been an escalation of violence, thuggery, and things like that.
Right. And, when we talk about insecurity, maybe terrorism in the country, a lot of the times we'll kind of see it as something that happens more so in the north, whereas we'll call it banditry when it happens in states more in the south. The fact that the Oyo State governor on Tuesday said that the attack that happened that killed 5 forest guards at the Oyo State.
So guys, protests have started in Nigeria. Nigerians are saying we have had enough. Enough is enough. We can't continue this way. This is Edo State. Edo State is boiling. This headline here says massive protests in Edo State as citizens speaks up against rising kidnapping in the country and tearing all the Tinubu's posters down. They are scattering Tinubu's poster. This is a state where the governor has come out to say he's going to give Tinubu 2.something million votes. If not for rigging, how else do they want to do it? Where is the miracle? Who is working? We are almost entering political season. No government in place. The youths are not empowered. And the worst part is, recently we saw people coming out to protest, to show solidarity with Tinubu in Oyo State, Ibadan. They said Tinubu should continue. The worst part is that no empowerment for the people. Nothing. Nigerians just behave so, I don't even know how to describe it. See what is happening in Iran. The people say we've had enough. But in Nigeria, people are looking at the government, robbing them. Nobody wants to act. Nobody wants to do anything. This person say, Edo State is no longer safe for Edo-lites. Kidnappers now go to people's houses to kidnap them. APC has failed Edo people. So guys, this is what is happening. Now there is this guy who was sentenced to death by hanging, because guess why they did that to him? Because he came out to defend his people. So anybody who tries defending himself against the Fulanis, risks being tried. I mean, anybody who comes out and you want to dare the Fulanis, your life may not be saved anymore. That is what we are seeing in Nigeria now. Your life may not be saved because of the level of hypocrisy we are seeing among the government officials, among the people. They don't care. Can you imagine that somebody came out to defend himself and to defend his community? Today, he is being sentenced to death. The Fulanis who committed all the... Nigerians, we need to discuss this thing. Nigerians, we need to speak out. Who is out there? I mean, the Fulanis will kill... How many people? Okay, just check the internet. You must have seen the Fulanis taking responsibility to have killed people. They will tell you because their cows were stolen or their cows were killed. None of them have faced the law. I mean, what are we doing, Nigerians? I can't just believe the level of dormancy among Nigerian youths. When we say we are giant of Africa, is it just on paper? Is it just with the mouth? Why is it that people are not speaking up? We have the Fulanis who are said to have come from outside Nigeria. They invaded the country. They've taken over. If you check, even in the Hausa-dominated places, they are now setting up emirates, installing Fulani leaders all over the places. The normal Hausa man has no place in the society, and that is exactly what they are trying to do in Middle Belt. They've taken over the communities in Middle Belt. They are renaming them. The owners are in IDP camps. Nobody has any budget. Oh, see, recently we've seen Tinubu's budget, you know, Tinubu budgeting for 2026. What is the budget for people in IDP camps? Tinubu, what plan do you have to take people in IDP camps back to their communities? Tinubu, have you sold these people? If Buhari sold them because he's a Fulani man, he was trying to protect the Fulanis, you that is a Southerner, at least Buhari didn't go to school. He does not understand what justice is. How can Tinubu, that is said to be the master strategist, the person who is said to be educated, that is a smart politician, how can you watch Nigerians be in IDP camps? You came into power. They will still be in IDP camp. You are vying for second term. How come that will be happening? So, guys, I don't think we should just keeping quiet. It is time to speak up. This country has to be fixed. All we are asking for is justice. If a Fulani man comes from any part of the world to live in Nigeria, why not just imbibe by the rules of the environment? See what they are doing now in Plateau State. They want to conquer the people at all costs, have dominion over them. They believe that Nigeria is their inheritance. It has been given to them by Allah. They want to displace the people. They want everybody to convert to Islam. What is happening? And the northerners are quiet. The northern leaders are silent. Nobody wants to speak up. So, guys, we've had enough of this, and this is what Nigerians are saying. We can no longer continue this way. This country deserves better leadership. So, guys, let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notification for more updates. Thank you.